Well, I want to thank all of you for being here. I'm joined by Bernice Johnson, and John Tierney will be here, Mike Honda, Linda Sanchez, Cathy Hochul. They'll all be speaking. Then Congressman Lipinski is with me right here, who has a major Make It in America piece of legislation, which is passed out of committee, and we hope it will be brought to the floor very soon. Jan Schakowsky will be joining us, I think, pretty soon, who also has a major piece of legislation. She's introduced Mark Kritz, who's on this side, Mark Kritz from Pennsylvania. I've been very much in the leadership of the Make It in America effort. As a matter of fact, the last time I went to his district, we went to a manufacturing plant that is selling goods to China, mining goods, which I was very impressed with, that we were selling to China, not buying from China. And John Garamendi, who has been one of the most outspoken proponents of the Make It in America agenda. With millions of Americans still out of work through no fault of their own, we must approach job creation with the seriousness and urgency the challenge deserves. Unfortunately, the Republican leadership has chosen instead to hold a vote repealing health care for the 31st time, a vote the House has already taken again and again and again, with obviously the same result. The difference is this vote comes after the Supreme Court has said this is a constitutional piece of legislation. They could at least argue before that that was problematic. It is no longer problematic. Our focus ought to be on finding economic solutions that will create jobs now and boost our competitiveness over the long term. This week, as so many weeks in the past, we are not addressing jobs and economic growth. Democrats' Make It in America plan will do just that. And it does so by revitalizing our manufacturing sector. Indicators have shown that manufacturing has been a bright spot in our recovery. But after 2 years of very strong gains, we just witnessed a month of manufacturing contraction and slowed growth in earnings. We cannot risk letting our manufacturing growth falter. We must take this warning sign and treat it as a turning point. Over the past 2 years, Democrats have put forward Make It in America bills that will help us out-educate, out-build, and out-innovate our competitors and create millions of well-paying middle-class jobs in the process. This week, we're adding an additional proposal to our Make It in America plan. We are calling on the House leadership to put them on the floor before the summer is over. Now, there are only some 28 days left to go before the election, and fewer than that before the August break. The bills that we're proposing would invest in rebuilding our infrastructure to help move goods to market, enhance job skills training and education to prepare our workforce for manufacturing jobs, and enforce trade rules to ensure a level playing field. Speaker Boehner said that he would allow the majority to work its will in this House. If these bills came to the floor, I believe there would be a large bipartisan majority of members voting in favor of these bills. That's because Make It in America combines the best ideas from both parties and has strong support from both business and labor. Now is not the moment to hunker down. Rather, it is a time to go on offense. And Make It in America is our economy's best offensive play. Everyone here with me has been a leader in the Make It in America effort. I'm going to give them an opportunity to talk about several of these new proposals in more detail. First, the ranking member of the Science and Tech Committee, Bernice Johnson from Texas.
Thank you very much, and let me thank our leader, Mr. Hoyer, for his continual leadership in Making It in America, and other members of the Democratic caucus. It is not just hearsay. It is something that we really must do to revitalize American manufacturing. And as we want the U.S. to hold on to its manufacturing edge, then we need to maintain the capacity to manufacture new and innovative products here at home. And just as you just heard, there are some selling to China. There are areas in my district that's selling to China, but we've got to do more. And the key to maintaining this capacity is through strategic investments in advanced manufacturing research, development, and education. H.R. 6081, which I introduced this week along with my Democratic colleagues on the Science Committee, makes the investments necessary to spur innovation and increase the competitiveness of American manufacturers. We've been listing for the last 3 or 4 years with us saying we must out-educate, out-innovate, and now it is time for us to do something along these lines. The decline of the U.S. manufacturing is a threat to the middle-class jobs and our economy. H.R. 6081 and the Make It in America agenda will assure that U.S. companies create the transformative technologies and innovative manufacturing processes of the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Mike Honda. Mike, from California.
Thank you, Mr. Hoyer, and I just want to add my thanks to your leadership also. And we're all here today because the single most important thing Congress can do is to pass legislation that creates more well-paying American jobs. And it's no secret that our economy faces tough challenges and the world has changed drastically since the days of the Model T Ford factory floor. Just because global commerce is more competitive than ever doesn't mean that we should throw our hands up in defeat and let these jobs slip away to our global competitors. The people on the stage are following the President's and the Representative Hoyer's lead and working to do the right thing by the American people. We're fighting for an economy with a strong foundation that works for everybody. This must include a healthy, resurgent manufacturing sector, and the ideas represented here today are astute and bold steps in that direction. I want to thank Representative Hoyer for highlighting one of my bills, the Market-Based Manufacturing Incentives Act. This bill is inspired by the ingenuity and the character of Silicon Valley, where the size of manufacturing workforce is twice the national average. It would provide a consumer rebate, and I'll say that again. It will provide a consumer rebate for groundbreaking products that are made in the United States. By changing the math so these American-made products are cheaper and more desirable for the consumer, we can boost profits and reward companies that keep their manufacturing plants here at home. And just because we believe in a living wage, clean water, clean air, and a safe workplace doesn't mean that we can't compete in the global economy and win. But we're not stopping here. There are tremendous ideas throughout our caucus, and we're going to keep pushing for positive solutions that keep this country competitive in the 21st century. This bill, I have another bill that we're looking at for the next steps, and tomorrow I'll be dropping a follow-up bill that also focuses on the revival of American manufacturing, the Scaling Up Manufacturing Act of 2012. This bill would let startups write off 25% of the costs to construct their very first domestic manufacturing facility. This bill will stop offshoring before it ever starts and helps this country retain innovative, growing, and American businesses. Like the rest of my colleagues on the stage, I stand ready to work with my colleagues on the other side of the aisle as soon as they stop wasting precious congressional resources and time. They should care more about jobs for everyday Americans, not just Mitt Romney. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Linda Sanchez, also from California. Linda?
Thank you, Steny, and I want to recognize the good work of my colleagues standing behind me in putting together the Make It in America agenda, because Make It in America is about creating good-paying jobs in this country. Getting people back to work here should be Congress's #1 priority. The past 28 months in this country have shown us that we should be doing all we can to support the manufacturing sector. 500,000 new jobs here in this country says it all. For our manufacturing sector to stay competitive globally, we have to make sure that America's producers have a level playing field on which to compete. The Enforce Act, a piece of legislation that I have introduced in previous Congresses and co-sponsored in this Congress, is critical to improving our ability to enforce our trade laws. I'm proud that it's being included in the Make It in America agenda. This bipartisan bill is about protecting American businesses and the workers that keep those businesses thriving. The Enforce Act strengthens the ability of Customs and Border Patrol protection to prevent foreign manufacturers from evading paying the duties they owe our country. Right now, too many foreign producers ignore our trade laws. This unfair advantage hurts too many American businesses, forcing them to shut down. And these aren't hypothetical problems either. Michael's Furniture in my district of Linwood, California, shut their doors because foreign manufacturers wouldn't pay the duties they owe to our country. Michael's just couldn't compete with the foreign products that had this illegal price advantage in the marketplace. America's businesses and workers can compete and win against products from anywhere in the world if we have a level playing field. The Enforce Act will level the playing field and will help American manufacturers make it in America and export it around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Congressman Sanchez. Next, one of our newer members, but one who has been focused on Make It in America and the creation of jobs and the growth of our economy as much as anybody in the Congress, Cathy Hochul from New York.
Thank you, Representative Hoyer, and for your leadership on keeping this on the front burner as best we can here in this Congress. Make it in America. 4 beautiful words that ring out a sense of hope and optimism and a reminder of what built this great country to position us to be the global leader that people revere around this world. We can get back to it with a set of policies that have been put together, put forward by my colleagues standing behind me in a comprehensive package. 28 days? That's an eternity back where I come from. I'm willing to put in 18-hour days, 24-hour days. Why don't we have enough time to get an agenda like this before the members of Congress in a bipartisan way, pass it, and be able to go back in August and say, yes, we did justify our existence here in Washington. We got something done to help Americans get back to work, our number one priority. So I've heard from businesses all over. I've held roundtables during breaks with business leaders and the heads of my universities. We have something called a skills gap, ladies and gentlemen, because 53% of college graduates, my daughter's age, recent college graduates, are looking for jobs. And yet, manufacturers are saying there's 600,000 jobs in manufacturing going unfilled because people don't have the skills. See the gap? We're educating smart kids, great universities. Employers aren't finding the skills they need. So I've introduced a bill called the Workforce Ready Educate America Act, which would provide a $1,000 tax credit to businesses to give to students to bring them in as part of their education, get them out of the classroom, get them in these advanced manufacturing facilities, learn the skills they need, let the employer trial run them. So guess what? When they graduate, they will have a job to go to. Let's start closing these gaps. Let's get our young people back to work, and let's make it in America. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Congressman Hochul. We've been joined by Congresswoman Schakowsky from Illinois, who has one of our major bills on Make It in America, Dan Lipinski, which I mentioned earlier, and Marcy Kaptur, Congressman Kaptur, of course, the ranking, to be ranking member on the Appropriations Committee when Mr. Dix leaves, is also here and represents the Midwest, which has been so hard hit by our failure to continue to make things in America. This Make It in America agenda is about success, about opportunity, but it's also about making it, manufacturing and growing it in America, selling it here and around the world. We know that manufacturing jobs pay on average 22% more than other jobs in our economy. We know that they have historically given better benefits, more security to people. Our manufacturing is key. And we've made some investments in manufacturing, which, frankly, President Bush wanted to do, President Obama wanted to do, and Democrats in the Congress wanted to do. And we see an automobile industry that is re-energized, competitive, and selling cars here and around the world. In fact, General Motors sold more cars last year than any other auto manufacturer in the world. That's the kind of investment and growth that Americans want to see. We've also been joined by the premier salesperson of Make It in America, who's done more special orders, more in his district on Make It in America than I think any other member of Congress, John Garamendi from the state of California. Thank you. Thank you.